Alright, so we got a new update of Gemini on Google Chrome. There is a new feature called Skills, which sounds quite advanced, but actually this is a somewhat simple feature. So essentially, if you have a prompt and you want to use the prompt again on another session or perhaps another browser tab, then you can save that prompt as a skill. So the next time you want to use the prompt, you can just mention the name or the skill and AI will automatically use the prompt that you have saved earlier. So definitely with Skills, you can save some time. You can also make your workflow a lot more efficient. So in this video, I'll show you how you can access the new skills feature on Google Chrome and also how you can create your own skills, how you can use them, and later I'll show you how you can manage all the skills that you have created on the browser or perhaps on your Gemini account. So let's start with how you can access the skills feature. So at the moment, the skills feature is available under the Gemini tool on the browser. Now, if you are watching this video right now, I believe you should be able to see this Gemini button on the browser. But in case you don't see this feature whatsoever, then I guess you can double check the version of the browser that you are using. To do that, you can open Chrome's menu and then go to Help, click About Google Chrome. And if there is a new update, then Google or Chrome will automatically download and install the update into your computer. And then after that, you might want to restart the browser to apply the new version of the browser. Now, if you have updated the browser but you still don't see the Gemini tool on the browser, you might want to check the AI innovations menu and make sure that Gemini in Chrome is not being disabled. So just turn on the feature and hopefully you can see the button. But if you still don't see this button again, I guess you might want to try to log into your Google account on Google Chrome, and hopefully it will show the button because Google is really connected with the browser and also with the Gemini AI. That's why I guess it is reasonable to just log into your Google account on the browser. But anyway, assuming that you have the Gemini feature available on the browser, you can start using the skills to save your prompts to make them to be more reusable. Now, let's start creating the skill. In this case, I have this article about the legal battle between Elon Musk and Sam Altman. This is a somewhat long article, but I want to create a skill that will automatically summarize the content for me in a bullet list format. So to do that, I'm going to open Ask Gemini, and then I'm going to write the prompt that later I'll turn into a skill. Now in this case, I'm going to use this prompt, and if you want to use the same prompt, I guess I'm going to put this prompt in the description down below. And yeah, this is my prompt, and after that you can just send the message. Now this is just one way to create the skill because there is another way to create a reusable prompt or a skill later. Now as you can see, I don't see any button that allows me to save the instruction as a skill. So usually, depending on the request and perhaps depending on your luck, I guess, you will see a button down here that says save as a skill. But as you can see, I don't see that button whatsoever. So I cannot automatically turn this into a skill. But don't worry because that's not the only way to create a skill. So here, if you hover your cursor above the instruction or the prompt area, you can see this lightning bolt icon. You can click save as a skill. I'm going to click it, and there you go. So I can provide a name for this skill. Let's call this one content summarizer, and I do recommend to add an emoji to make the skill to look a bit different than the rest, especially if you have plenty of skills to be added later. Let's use something like brain icon or brain emoji. And this is the same instruction. Now, if you are not quite sure about your prompt, I guess you can use Gemini to improve your prompt. But in this case, I'm not going to use this feature. But if you want to use it, then you can click this button. Okay, I'm going to click save. And there you go. So the skill has been added into my Google Chrome or Gemini account. So to use it again, I can just mention the name of the skill. So let's try this page. This is a page about DeepSeek version 4, a new AI model from some Chinese company. Now I'm going to open Gemini again, and I'm going to type / and then I can select the skills that I want to use, I can use my cursor, or I can also just use my keyboard keys to navigate to the menu that I want to use. And I'm going to hit enter and hit enter again. And there you go. It's as simple as that. I'm using the same prompt that I used earlier on my previous session. So this is really cool. Now, how about if you want to access the skills that you have created earlier? Well, you can navigate to this page. So it is Chrome. And by the way, I'm going to just put this in the description in case you want to easily copy the address. So this is one way to open it, and that's kind of strange because honestly, I don't see any button on the Gemini feature on Chrome that lets you browse the skills. So when I click this button, it doesn't open anything. So that's really strange. That's why I have to resort to this URL manually, but that's totally fine. Okay, so this is the skills page on Google Chrome, and this is where you can see all the skills that perhaps you can add into the browser. These are not yet available to be used on Google Chrome. You have to click add, and then you can rename it, and then you can add that or save it as a skill that is available on the browser. But if you want to see the skills that you have, you can click your skills, and then you'll see a list of skills that you have created earlier. Now, in this case, I only have one skill, which is content summarizer. I can edit the prompt. I can also delete the skill, and I can also just copy the instructions again in case I want to use it somewhere else. And you can also create your own skills right here. So I'm going to click add, and I'm going to use skill where I can, let's pretend that I'm a teacher and I have a document from my student and I have to give a score to that document. So let's call this one student score or something, and then let's use an emoji. Let's say teacher, something like that. And I'm going to just copy my prompt, and this is just a really cool demo because Gemini on Chrome can also access a local file or a local document. So I have this PDF document that I can open on the browser, and I can ask Gemini to give a score to this test, this science quiz. Let me just type / and then student score, enter again, and AI is able to see what's going on my screen. So it's really cool that I don't have to manually upload a document. It stays here on my computer, and I would say the workflow here is a lot more convenient than having to manually navigate to Gemini and then upload a document and then provide the prompt. So yeah, this is I guess one way, another way to create a skill. And by the way, if you want to add more skills, you can navigate to the browse skills page, and then let's say I want to add a skill for maybe let's try study guide. I'm going to click add, and then I can just use the same name, save, and that skill will be added into my list. And there you go. So that's essentially all the things that I guess you need to know on how you can access skills, how you can create your own skills, how you can add other skills or from this browse skills page as the skills that later can be reused when you are using the Gemini feature on Chrome. So I hope you learned something from this video, and if you want to see other things that perhaps you can do with AI, then check out this video up here, and I'll see you there.